All right, I've got another customer's bike in the garage, and this time working on a 2020 Road Glide Special that we're going to be putting a 21-inch front wheel, and we're also going to be putting 1-inch extensions on the tubes to get the bike up off the ground a little bit more. Follow along with me. Let me show you how we do this. All right, so this customer wanted to get the bike up off the ground a little bit more. In addition, add to the aesthetic of the bike. And in order to do that, we're gonna go from a 19-inch wheel to a 21-inch wheel, and then we're gonna add a 1-inch extension up on the tube so we can get the bike up off the ground a little bit more. This is gonna be for carving canyons, giving you some more ground clearance, and let's be real, it's got a nice gangster lean to it when it's all said and done. So I'm going to kind of show you the steps. I'm going to show you where I'm at with it so far. Taking it off is very basic. If you don't know how, there's a bunch of videos that are on that to be able to take your wheels off and all that. So I've already got it taken apart. Let me show you all the parts that we're going to be adding onto this, and let's give you a rundown. All right, check this out. All right, so first things first, you can see the difference. 19-inch wheel right here, 21-inch wheel right here. You can see the difference in the size. Clearly, you do the math, this is going to give us 2 inches taller on the front. In case you guys didn't know, these are Harley Prodigy wheels. This is the wheel that came stock with it on the bike. This is a 21-inch Prodigy wheel, so it matches the rear. We're just going taller in the front. Now, when you buy this, there are a couple things that you're going to need to do. This wheel came with some nice polished rotors, and it actually came with the fender brackets that you're going to need to be able to use, or you're going to need to use for this. I'll explain those in a minute. It also came with some nice hardware to go along with it for all the brake rotors. So it came fully with everything that we needed on it. The other thing that we're going to be installing are these 1-inch extensions. Now, these right here, they simply go right on top of these tubes here that I'll be showing you, and they're going to replace this top cap. And then this top cap is going to thread down into this one as well. And this is going to give us 1 inch more on the top tubes, which will allow us to be able to slide the tubes down into the triple trees a little bit more and give us even more ground clearance. This customer already has a carbon fiber Hoffman Designs fender, and when you're adding the 2 inches of wheelbase, you're going to need to lift the fender. So this actually came with some fender adapters as well, so you can see the holes there. This is going to lift the fender up a little bit. The bottom ones are the stock holes. The top ones are going to be where the new fenders, or the fender's going to mount now, and that's what's going to give us that clearance to be able to accommodate for the bigger tire. All right, so I'm going to get cracking. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get these tubes, I'm going to get the extensions mounted up onto the tubes. Let me show you how that works, all right? All right, for these 1-inch extensions, they're pretty easy to install. You're just going to remove the top cap from your tube. For a 49mm bagger, you're going to need a 19mm Allen head. And these are under a bit of tension, not a ton. You're going to see right now it's going to come up, it's going to pop a little bit. You can put a rag over it, but there's really not too much tension under these. Just kind of be careful with it. It shouldn't come up and go flying. They can, just be careful. But we're gonna take this cap off, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna install these 1-inch extensions in place, and then that's what's gonna allow us to put our cap back on top of here, because there's new threads in here, and that's what's gonna give us our longer tube. And then we'll be able to drop the trees down. We'll be able to drop the tubes down into the trees a little bit more, and that'll give us a full 1 inch of height clearance as well. All right, so let me pop these off. I'll show you how they come off. Come off pretty easy. So it just broke loose. What I'll kind of do is I'll kind of keep putting pressure down on it so it doesn't just jump up at me. But once it comes loose, there it goes. That's it right there. Done. And now you're going to have another one that's inside of here, and you're going to install the extension that they come with to make up for the space. And then you're just going to put the cap in place, and then you're going to the new 1-inch extension in place, and then you're going to replace the cap back on top. And now you got 1 inch longer tubes. So on this leg, you can already see, I've already done one, and you can see the 1-inch extension that you're going to get. This is with the extension already installed, and you can see the Allen head on top of this one installed, and you see the Allen head on top of this one that has not yet been done. But you can see what the effect is. You will get 1-inch taller tubes to allow you to drop the tubes down in the trees, and that'll lift the bike up a little bit more off the ground for you. So quick, simple, easy. You don't even have to replace fluids or anything. So let me get this one popped in, and I will get it back on the bike. All right, so the tubes are now complete. You can see the 1-inch extension on each of them now. And now we're going to be able to slide these down lower into the triple trees, and that's going to give us more ground clearance. You can see how much more we added here. This is where the cap used to stop, obviously. 1-inch extension will allow us to drop this down into the tree some more, and then give us some more ground clearance. So I'm going to get these buttoned up, installed there, and then I'll show you the next step. All right, so the lowers are back on. I had to go ahead and remove the cowbells. Made the executive decision for this customer because with the longer tubes or with the extensions, we're going to get about 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch of this sticking out the bottom, and it just didn't look right. So I had to make the executive decision to ditch the cowbells and just leave it exposed. I think it'll be a good look for it as well. I got the rotors all mounted up to the new wheel here, and the next thing I'm going to do is get this fender installed. I'm going to go ahead and get the bracket installed, get the fender on there, and then I'm going to slide the tire in there, get it on the ground, because I won't be able to. I need to get it on the ground to get the wheel, you know, to bear some weight on it, so that these slide up in here, and then I can get I can use the brake line that is here. Because if I try and put it on right now, it's not long enough to reach with the extended tubes. So I'm going to have to lower it down with the wheel on to get some weight on it. So that way these will kind of suck back up in this direction. So then I do have enough brake line. So let me get this fender mounted though first. We're going to go ahead and install these brackets right here to be able to lift the fender the extra 2 inches that it needs for clearance in order to compensate for the bigger wheel. Alright, so I definitely got ahead of myself before I started recording. Alright, I just got to work and started getting stuff installed. And so she's all done, she's all buttoned up. Fender mount relocation has been installed as well. Had to get a couple longer bolts here and then some bolts here to be able to use the fender extension. So you can see what that does there. You can see it raises the fender up so that it fits the new diameter of the wheel. Rotors are also installed, some nice chrome polished rotors. But what I had to do is I had to eliminate the cowbells because they just weren't long enough. Even though they were the extended ones, they came up to about right here, and it exposed just a little bit to look just awkward. But this is what the customer was looking for. This is the look and the height he was looking for. You can definitely see how much more it is leaning off to the side, and that is because we did a 21-inch diameter wheel, which got us an extra 2 inches, and then we had put the extensions on as well, and that got us a little bit more. Now, on this one here, you're sometimes going to be limited, and this is going to be, I'll show you on this side, you're going to be limited to what your brake lines are going to allow you to put the tubes down. And in this case, this is, you can see they're not tight, but they are stretched out to basically their max. You don't want them to be tight, that's for sure. So you can see that they have slack in them, but that means we weren't able to go down all the way. It's only about, I think it's about maybe like 7/16 of an inch that is sticking up out of the top. So you can see a little bit better on this side here how much has to stick out the top. If we had longer brake tubes, then we could go ahead and push this down a little bit more and take full advantage of that 1-inch extension. So I'd say we got about another 1/2 inch or so out of those extensions, and then the 21-inch wheel definitely gave us the lean as well as the clearance and the height ground clearance that this customer was looking for. And in addition, That 21-inch wheel just looks better on the front of this thing compared to the 19. It just sits right, fills in that front end a little bit more. So good upgrade. Let's put the 19 up next to it. All right, so here you can tell the difference between the 19 and the 21. So I definitely think it's a good upgrade. It looks better in my opinion as well. Just it gets the bike up in the air, and that bigger wheel just looks better in there all around. So that won't go on the side for him, but there it is. You can definitely tell, like I said, that lean angle and that clearance is much higher on the ground. And you can see back here as well that just got a nice lean to it. So this job's all buttoned up. I'm going to give it a test ride tomorrow morning and make sure that everything on it is good. So I hope that helps if you're looking to do any extensions on your tubes. Pretty fairly straight, simple job. The only thing we had to do a couple extra things for here was because of the bigger diameter wheel, the fender extensions, and just because we raised the tubes and we lowered them, the cowbells don't cover enough. I personally like it this way. I think it just gives it a much more aggressive kind of look in the front. So, job done. Give it a test ride in the morning. Hope that helps.